I'm at Pink House Alchemy to see my friend Brandon Davidson. Hopefully we're not wearing similar hats. Hey Brandon, how's it going?
Good, good. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, good to see you. So what are you going to be making for us today?
Today we're going to make a Sarsaparilla Manhattan.
Oh, that sounds delicious. So, what's a cocktail? I know that sounds like an ignorant question, but what is a cocktail? What are those definitions?
It's actually not an ignorant cocktail question at all, because cocktails are, every drink out there is called a cocktail today, but technically a cocktail is a spirit, sugar, bitter, and water. A spirit, sugar, bitter, and water. So I know what water and sugar are. Right. What's our spirit? What's our bitter? So today for our drink, our spirit is bourbon. I'm using there. Our bitter is, and bitters are any number of ingredients, herbs, root, fruit, anything can become a bitter if it has a bittering agent added to it.
Okay, so let's pause right and talk about that for a second.
Sure.
So when I hear the word bitter, I think of something that tastes, kind of assaults the senses there.
Sure.
What define this for me?
So this bitter has some sugar in it. It also has, in our case today, sarsaparilla or Sarsaparilla, where it comes from South America, Central America, Mexico.
Right.
And also the bittering agent would be wormwood. So you want to have something that just gives it a little bit of that bitterness that your tongue picks up on. And that's why you see bartenders not use a whole lot of bitters in the drinks. You just want to add a few dashes, and we're only going to be adding about 6 dashes of this today. It's very much, you can think of bitters as a salt and pepper for a cocktail.
Right.
And so you just want to add a little bit to kind of enhance the flavors that you're already using in the drink.
And that's awesome. That really helps define it for me. So I can see that you got kind of your scope of things laid out here. What are we going to be working with today to make this drink?
So a Manhattan traditionally is made with bourbon, sweet vermouth, bitters, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And so today, though, with our Pink House products, we like to do some spins and some updates on some drinks and make them even more delicious than they already are. So we're using our sarsaparilla simple syrup today, as well as our sarsaparilla bitters, along with the bourbon and then the sweet vermouth.
Perfect, man. Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. You can rock and roll there.
Great, absolutely. Let's get started. So what we'll start with first is the simple syrup, sarsaparilla.
And this is something that you make here, you have here at Pink House.
Yeah? Right, yeah, this is something that is from our company, Pink House Alchemy, sarsaparilla simple syrup. It's delicious. Sarsaparilla is actually grown in Arkansas as well. You find it, the root in Arkansas. It was used in olden times for any number of ailments, including gas and what else was it? Impotency, which so we're going to enjoy that. Cheers to that, right? So we're going to do about a ½ ounce of sarsaparilla simple syrup and put it in our mixing glass here.
You look very seasoned at this technique here that you're using.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I've done it for a while, actually. So then we're going to do our bitters now. And like I said, you want to be fairly judicious with that.
Right.
You can smell those if you want. Smell the bitters.
Yeah.
Got a nice root beer, kind of vibe to it a little bit.
Now, what you called that something? It's not sarsaparilla. It's
Sarsaparilla. Yeah, which is again it's a Basque word etymologically speaking, and then like I said, it originated out of Mexico, South America, Central America, and then made its way everywhere else.
Yeah.
So you've had sarsaparilla old fashioned or sarsaparilla root beer floats, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
it's the same vibe. So they used to make those in the old soda shops. For our cocktail, now traditionally the Manhattan was just like the bourbon, the vermouth, and the bitters on ice, stirred and poured.
Sure.
So we added a little bit of some extra elements, flavor elements to that.
Oh,
We're going to add a cherry, a Luxardo cherry from the Marasca cherry. This is from the Luxardo brand out of Italy. These are not like the same, FD&C red cherries that you find at a lot of places. These are legitimate. So we're going to muddle that cherry a little bit, and muddling is a technique used. So muddling means you're just going to press a lot of that flavor out. You can do this with herbs. You can do it with fruit, and you're just getting that kind of expressing the juice out of whatever it is, or the essence of whatever you're mixing in there. Just a little bit, not too much. And again, this is not the traditional way, but it's definitely a delicious way to do it. So,
and that's what we want. We want the delicious way.
Absolutely.
Every time.
So we've had our syrup, we've had our bitters, and now we're going to add our vermouth. And again, vermouth is a fortified wine.
Now explain that term to me, fortified wine.
So fortified wine, so you have wine and it's fortified with a spirit, like a brandy or something that gives it a little bit more staying power, gives a little bit more punch.
Yeah, sure.
But this is a wine, and one thing to note with vermouths, how do most people order their martinis?
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred. Well, Bond does, and how they order them, dry. Usually, we hear that term, right? Dry. Well, how much vermouth would you like? Would be the next question the bartender would ask. No vermouth at all. Just a lot of times, we're like, just wave the dry vermouth over, because I don't like the taste of vermouth.
Right. Yes.
The reason they don't like the taste of vermouth is because it's a wine, and nobody ever chills their vermouth like you would a white wine.
Yeah.
So your wine or your vermouth actually sits out in your bar for 6 months. And putrefies, and so then you've got a nasty ingredient in your drink, and that's why most people order their martinis dry. So what I would like to educate the public with is that vermouth is wonderful. It's actually a really good spirit, and adds so much to your drinks. And so why not store it properly so that you can drink properly?
Which would be chilling it, right?
Would be chilling it. Yeah. Once you've opened it, you want to chill it definitely, and even the sweet vermouth. Now we'll add our bourbon. We're going to do 2 ounces. The traditional ratio of a Manhattan goes all the way back to 1860. Manhattan is one of the only drinks that's kind of maintained its kind of proportions for as long as it has. It's one of the oldest drinks that's made the same way.
So let's talk about the Manhattan for a second.
Sure.
Does it originate from Manhattan? And
it does originate from New York City. There's several stories that are going around that we don't quite know the exact origin of it. But around 1860, we have the first mention of that. It's very similar to a cocktail called the Bronx cocktail that has a rye and a vermouth. And one of the traditional stories, or kind of the Gnostic stories, I guess, of the cocktails would be that Lady Churchill, Winston Churchill's mother, was attending a banquet in Manhattan, and the bartender there created this cocktail for that. Which is not true, because she was actually giving birth over in London to little Winston. So it doesn't quite work, but it's kind of fun, a fun story. So we have all our ingredients added into our mixing glass here, and we're going to add ice now. Again, here's our water element. Perfect. A little bit more. Ice cubes are also very important in a cocktail. Ice, depending upon the type of ice that you use, the size of the ice. You could use sonic ice, or you could use these kind of 1-inch cubes that we have here.
Define what is sonic ice?
Sonic ice would be crushed ice or pearl ice, which is delicious ice, and it's often used in many cocktails.
I saw a character from a Sega video game running around
Sonic,
creating
yes,
ice.
exactly.
That's what I went to in my mind.
Yeah.
Also, I've noticed recently, and this might have nothing at all, no bearing on this drink, but places have been serving 1 giant ice cube in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what's the difference, and how does that change the flavor of the drink, maybe?
So the larger the ice cube, the slower the dilution rate. And we're going to let that sit for just a second. We don't want to water it down too much, because then you have nothing worse than a watered down cocktail.
Sure.
But speaking of watering down, the larger ice cube, if you have that on like a Scotch on the rock, or bourbon on the rock, they're going to give you like a 2-inch cube. It's going to melt slower, therefore you're going to have less dilution. It's just going to give a little bit of water. A lot of times you'll have someone order a Scotch with just a splash of water.
Right.
All you want to do with that water is open up the Scotch or the bourbon, whatever you're drinking.
Gotcha.
Just a little dash of water, even sometimes just like an eyedropper of water, will open up the aroma, open up the flavonoids of that Scotch or that bourbon, whatever. So when you see someone with a large rock, they're wanting to enjoy the taste of the bourbon without it getting too watered down, but just a little bit of chill.
Gotcha.
So now we're going to serve this cocktail like it is traditionally. We're going to serve it up, or it was traditionally served.
What does that mean? Served up?
Serve it up
Yep.
is going to be without ice. So we've stirred it on ice, but we're not going to serve it over ice.
That's perfect. You look at your measurements there.
So,
it's like you planned for this.
It's like it's planned. And then we're going to garnish. Traditionally, it's garnished with a cherry, which we've already muddled in there. It's got some of the essence and the flavor of that cherry.
Sure.
But I like to garnish, especially with using the sarsaparilla syrups, some orange. The orange and sarsaparilla play so well together. So I'm going to do a little orange. It's called an orange cheek. Mm-hmm. We're going to zest the orange over the Manhattan here.
So just adding a little bit of...
A little bit of that orange essence.
Yeah.
So the essence of the orange, go ahead and...
And already, I mean, I can smell all of these things you're working with here.
Absolutely.
The flavor that you're working with.
And, you know, we drink with our nose. We drink with our eyes before we drink with our mouth.
Absolutely.
So garnish is so important. All the ingredients that go into the drink are so important. Before it even touches your lips, you want that experience to be like, yes, exactly.
That's exactly what I wanted when I said that I wanted to try this. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So, there you are, sir. Give that a try.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Wow, that's really good.
Cool. Good. Great.
It's really good. I can taste the orange. I can taste the sarsaparilla, I think, and the cherry. I mean, I feel like I can taste it all individually in one swallow. So,
awesome.
Man, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It's delicious.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Glad you enjoyed it. Cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers.